Soufflé is a delicious, classic, centuries-old French dish. But I have to admit, when I was first starting off in my culinary career, I struggled to get it right. Well, after plenty of trial and error, I have an absolute foolproof chocolate souffle recipe. Then I'm going to show you how I loaded up with a bunch of goodies on top, like fresh berries and sauces and ice cream, for seriously one of my favorite desserts of all time. I have a feeling you are going to love this. Let's start by prepping it up. Sound good? Let's bake. All right, my commies. We want to make a buttery, rich thickening agent known as a beurre manie. I have 3 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter. What we're going to do at this stage is next add in 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Now, using a fork, press the butter down into the flour. I swear the butter is soft. I just lost my grip there. Once the butter and flour make a meal-like consistency, I'm going to switch over to hands because guess what? Beurre manie translates to kneaded butter. So we want to knead the ingredients together for maybe just 30 to 45 seconds until it completely comes together to form a soft-looking dough just like this. And I always do my best to get as many of those ingredients off my hands as possible. In fact, I kind of feel like Ace Ventura after he gets done eating his sunflower seeds. Come on, get off there. Next, I'm heading over to a cooktop. I have a 2-quart sauce pot. I'm adding in 1 cup of whole milk. You could also use half and half heavy cream, 1%, 2%, or even skim milk. Next, I'm pouring in 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. I'm turning the heat up to high. And after just a few seconds, I'm going to give this mixture a quick whisk to ensure the sugar on the bottom is mixed in and does not caramelize. All we want to do is bring this milk to a boil. Once boiling, we're going to turn the heat down to low. Now let's add in our beurre manie mixture and whisk it together until the butter is completely melted into the milk and sugar. You'll notice it will start to become very thick, just like this. Now time to mess with the heat again. Crank it up to high because we want this mixture to come to a boil, which will happen almost instantaneously. Once it does, we're turning the heat back down to low. And from there, we want to simmer it for about 5 to 6 minutes while occasionally whisking. This process of thickening up the sweet milk with the beurre manie will act as the base to our main souffle recipe. It will also help to add body and assist in giving the recipe structure. But just to get your senses moving, grab a spoon and give it a quick taste. As soon as you turn it down to that low simmer, you'll notice a lot of starchy, floury textures and tastes in there. That's what we're trying to eliminate. So again, come back every 20 to 30 seconds, give it a quick whisk for that 5 to 6 minute period, and after that amount of time, you'll notice the mixture is extremely thick like this. Honestly, it's very close in consistency to my pommes à la go recipe. Also, to ensure we are good and free of that starchy, floury taste, grab a separate spoon, try it out. You'll notice we are in the clear. Let's remove the thickened milk sugar mixture, and I'm going to transfer it over to a very large bowl. Make sure your bowl is large because you're going to be adding quite a few ingredients. Once you've scraped out as much as you possibly can from the pot, I'm going to add a piece of plastic wrap over the top to keep it warm. And if you just happen to have a lid big enough to cover your bowl, please use that as well. Let's briefly set this to the side. Now, remember I said chocolate souffle, so guess what? We need to melt some chocolate. So in a medium-sized metal bowl, I'm adding in 1/2 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. You could also use a cut-up chocolate bar. And now to melt it, I'm adding it over a medium-sized pot about 1/3 way filled with simmering water over low to medium heat. This pot with the bowl together is known as a double boiler. Using a rubber spatula, immediately start to move around the chocolate, and it will only take maybe a minute for this to melt. And if you don't want to go this route, add those chocolate chips to a microwave-safe bowl and heat it up in the microwave for 60 seconds. At this stage, remove it, give it a quick mix, return it to the microwave for 30-second bursts or until it is completely melted, just like this. Let's take our melted chocolate, whether from a double boiler or the microwave, and we are going to scrape it into the bowl with that thickened sweet milk mixture. And really take your time to get all of that chocolate out of the bowl because this will help make our souffle that much more chocolatey. Every little bit helps. Once it is in there, we're going to use a whisk and mix it together until it is completely combined. We're going to add back on that plastic wrap, set it to the side to keep it warm, and now we need to separate some egg yolks from the egg whites. Now there are a couple ways you can do this. The first way is by cracking the egg in half to have 2 equal-sized egg shells and bobbling the yolk back and forth between those shells, releasing the whites into one bowl. Egg whites in one bowl and egg yolks in another. Now the other way is just cracking the egg in half and letting the egg whites drip through in between your fingers into the bowl. We will need 4 total large egg yolks, and we will actually need 5 total large egg whites. For the remaining egg yolk, just put it in a container and set it aside until you're ready to make scrambled eggs. Okay, let's bring back out that thickened chocolate mixture bowl, remove the plastic wrap. We're gonna add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, mix that in, and then we're going to add in all 4 egg yolks. Once it is whisked in, you'll see that the mixture will become very smooth and almost like a soft ganache. This looks excellent. We're going to briefly set this to the side uncovered. Now for one of the most important parts, we need to make our meringue. So in a stand mixer with the whisk attachment, we're adding in all 5 egg whites. We're turning the speed to high, and we want to form soft peaks, which after using a timer takes exactly 1 minute and 15 seconds. If you're not sure what stiff peaks look like, stop the mixer, put a spoon in there, get some of the egg whites on the back of that spoon, and you'll see how the meringue slouches over. This is what we call soft peaks. We're not quite there yet. So at this stage, we want to add in 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of coarse salt. Let's turn the mixer back on to high speed, and we're gonna mix it for another 45 seconds to 1 minute, or until stiff peaks are formed. And again, if you're not sure what this looks like, grab a spoon, stick it in the bowl, get some of the meringue on the back side of it. You can see the meringue easily holds shape when standing upright. That top peak is not slouching or bending over, and the meringue looks nice and moist. This looks perfect. Now the word soufflé comes from the root word souffler. Now this is a French word that means to breathe or to blow or to puff. And that's exactly what this meringue is going to do. It's going to help our soufflé puff up and rise up. So you've got to get this part right. Do not overmix it. Do not undermix it. You saw what it needs to be. All right, we're now going to fold this into our chocolate mixture. So I'm just going to quickly remove the bowl from the stand mixer, and then what we want to do is add it in 3 separate batches into the bowl with the chocolate thickened milk mixture. Now this is probably the area where I messed up most in my younger culinary years. I would just mix it in as quick as possible. No, what you need to do is take care and gently and slowly fold in all of that meringue. Do not add the next batch of meringue until the one before is completely mixed in. This is so crucial. I can't say it enough. This again is what's going to help lift our souffle past the rim of the ramekin. And once the meringue is folded in, you should see no white anywhere. You should have a rich, thick, chocolatey batter. And at this point, this is finished. And one of my favorite things about souffle is you can cover this in plastic or transfer it to another container, and it will keep in the refrigerator for up to 2 days. When you are ready to make it, no need to bring it up to room temperature. Just add it to the ramekins and bake it for the exact same cooking time that I'm going to do. All right, what we do need to do though is butter and sugar up our ramekins. You can use this amount of souffle batter in 3 8-ounce ramekins or 4 6-ounce ramekins. You're going to need about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of softened unsalted butter, and you want to generously work it in all in the inside of the ramekins and even put some around the outside on that lip. If any area is dry on that top, the souffle can get stuck and prevent it from rising. Next, we're going to add in about 2 to 3 teaspoons of sugar per ramekin, and we want to ensure all the butter is completely coated in that sugar, and this will also aid in pushing our souffle up, ensuring nothing gets stuck to the sides or the top. This is such a crucial step. Do not go light here. It's always better to go heavy on butter and sugar. Any excess, add to a separate bowl and reserve for another recipe. Okay, time to start loading up a ramekin. I'm going to fill it up with that chocolate souffle batter just until it barely reaches the top or slightly below. and then using an offset spatula or a butter knife, I'm going to gently smooth out the tops, make sure there's no air bubbles anywhere so that I have a nice flat surface so that it rises appropriately. And I'm going to have to ask for some grace here. I would normally cook 4 of these at one time on this sheet tray, but I have to admit, this was one of the hardest videos to make simply because I produce and shoot everything myself. Now, because soufflés can fall so quickly after removing it from the oven, I'm just doing it one at a time. I have to make sure I have a nice looking soufflé for my YouTube thumbnail or for my pictures on my website. And of course, I need one to add all my toppings for. If I cook them all at the same time, the rest will fall while I only focus on one. So please forgive me for this. Once all the ramekins are loaded up, it's time to bake them in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit in a lower third or middle rack in the oven. If you're using the 3 8-ounce ramekins, it will take in between 20 and 22 minutes. If you're doing 4 6-ounce ramekins, it will take in between 16 and 18 minutes for these to cook. After that amount of time, let's take it out. Looks beautiful. You should be at least 1 inch or even more past the lip of that ramekin. This looks so good. Now, the only thing about soufflés is you got about 3 or 4 minutes to add those toppings. Now, there are an assortment of different things you could do, like a chocolate sauce or a raspberry sauce, even creme anglaise or caramel. Other things, fresh berries, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, you name it. Also, great with ice cream, vanilla, chocolate. You be the judge. I have all of those recipes for all of those sides, obviously outside of the fresh berries, on my website at billyparisi.com. I also have them in metric or in US customary. And it will always go back to these basic fundamental cooking and baking techniques. When you put them into practice over and over again, you make incredible food and will always make the best memories. You don't think someone's not going to enjoy this when they eat it? They're going to love it. All right, let me show you how I plate this up. Now, it is very classic to finish off soufflé with powdered sugar. You could also use cocoa powder. And the way I like to serve it, like I said, load it up. I drizzle on plenty of hot chocolate sauce. I like a little bit of raspberry sauce because it complements the chocolate so well. Then a little bit whipped cream for some more fat. And I love berries on there. And just for a little decoration, I'm going to thinly slice a half-sliced strawberry, fan it out right over the whipped cream. And because why not? How about a scoop of chocolate ice cream? Oh, this is my bliss right here. When chocolate soufflé is done, it will be very soft and slightly runny in the center, and you'll have a nice cake-like consistency around the outside. Perfection, my friends. So rich in chocolate flavor. Now, this is the dessert that you make when you're looking to impress somebody. Maybe date night, maybe Valentine's Day. This one will make you famous. I think you're gonna dig it. Now, if you have a sweet tooth like we do, definitely check out my creme brulee. The little caramelized sugar crust, the whipped cream, the vanilla flavor. Oh, so good. I have a great recipe video. I'll see you on there. And whoops, I've got chocolate on my hand.